Hey everyone, today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about pitch decks and why you need them for your project. So pitch decks, pitch Bibles, kind of the same thing. Basically, it's a visual presentation of what your project is. And it just makes it a little more exciting than either sending, say, a treatment or even a one-page synopsis. If you can send something that really engages whoever is going to be reading it and gives them a flavor of what the project is through colors, style, it shows the genre, it's the best thing to do. So one of the things that's really important in a pitch deck is to really stick with the hooks. Using a hook on each page to engage the audience and then draw them into the next page. So that's the number one thing. The other thing is you want to use photos and colors that really give a sense of what the environment is, give a sense of what the characters are like. You don't necessarily want to add pictures of actors because if there's any reason that whoever you're presenting it to wouldn't want to work with a particular actor, you don't want them to shy away from it because it has somebody you've put in as an example. But using a type of person, maybe just, go to free photos and find a type and say it's this sort of type is a good thing to do. The other thing is, like I said, coloring is a real big part of it. In our pitch deck we did for Wildcat, I'm going to show you a few pages of that, but you can definitely see how the coloring really sells that it's Africa. You can see how we've really, it's an anti-poaching story, and you definitely get that with some of the imagery. Also, in this deck, which was done for Turnover, our TV series, again, the coloring and the styling of it is really centered around restaurants. You can see that in even the font choices, the way that our artist laid it out, he's using a plate for anything that is an O in it. And we're using, in this case, we're using a lot of photos and stuff from the movie because we already did the movie. So in this case, we are using actors, but then we can use the movie as something they can go back to as a pilot and say that they can continue it in a TV series, which a lot of people have told us, and that's one of the reasons that we ended up developing the series. So those are some things that you want to keep in mind. I would never make a pitch deck longer than 10 to 15 pages. You don't want it to be too long, but I think that's an engaging style. So, just find an artist that you think has the ability to do it. If you don't have an artist that you can use, you can always do it yourself in, say, like Publisher. I've done several of them in like Microsoft Publisher. But if you don't have any idea what to do and you are looking for an artist, I highly recommend a friend of mine who has done a ton of these, Drew Forrester. He's a fellow Screenwriting U classmate, but also he has been a designer for over 20 years in the advertising field. So he really is experienced in what sells and how to put it together, and he does a fantastic job. He did both the Bibles that I showed you examples of, and actually several more. But definitely consider putting a pitch deck or Bible together and see how that affects whoever you're submitting to, as opposed to, say, just a standard query or, showing them a treatment. Anyway, best of luck with that. And again, if you have any questions, let me know.